A group of private sector companies have come together to help countries in the region in the event of disaster.
The companies will pool their resources and assets in a bid to reach ground zero swiftly and provide early first-hand information to other relief organizations.
Now, the Corporate Citizen Foundation initiative is understood to be the first of its kind in the region, and Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam launched this evening. He said Singapore may be a small country, but it has strengths and can contribute.
The launch of CCF today is, I think, a very useful signal, both for the players who are involved in it, as well as for other corporates in Singapore, to think hard about this, think about how they can use their assets for purposes other than their business, either within Singapore or in the region.
The Corporate Citizen Foundation is hoping more companies will join up. In the meantime, here is Leong Wai Kit with a look at the 5 pioneering members.
The idea of pooling together the resources and assets of private firms to help out during a crisis was mooted earlier this year by engineering firm HSL Constructor. It has pumped in 1 million Sing dollars to get the foundation off the ground. The foundation has the following companies on board: Thomson Medical, humanitarian supplies company Golden Season, HSL Constructor, ST Aerospace, and MediaCorp, which would send reporters to ground zero to give first-hand accounts. The foundation's aim isn't to provide relief items such as food or shelter. Instead, it wants to gather data.
The most important thing actually in a major disaster during the acute phase is actually the intelligence or intel, process information, early first-hand information that can go out so that responders like the NGOs or the international organizations can know or it's to make informed decisions as to what to bring in, how much to bring in, who are the people that they need to send in, so that we can avoid duplication of efforts.
And if there's a disaster, the foundation will get air traffic clearance to fly in its members. It will also be in touch with the official ASEAN body that deals with disasters, and that's the ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance on Disaster Management, as well as the country's coordinating agencies. In addition to activating response teams in times of disaster through what it terms the SEED platform, which stands for Swift Emergency Evaluation Deployment, the foundation's other main function is to help disadvantaged communities in the region outside of disaster situations. It will bring systems like this to these communities. This is the only known water filtration system that can churn out 1,200 liters of drinking water per hour, and that's 800 of such bottles.
Now, this pail contains dirty water, and to produce clean drinking water, all I need to do is to step on this unit to pump water through this filter system. And in a matter of seconds, I'll have clean drinking water. And because this system has got carbon filters, the water does not have a foul smell.
Now, the new initiative comes as the ASEAN Humanitarian Assistance Center released a new report analyzing the region's response to Super Typhoon Haiyan.
And one key finding is that ASEAN needs to increase its ability to mobilize more resources from various sectors to achieve a more comprehensive and faster response to natural disasters in the region.
Now, the organization also says that private corporations have more innovative ideas and can play an important role to improve the region's disaster response capability.
Huge tracts of land were destroyed. More than 8,000 people died or have been listed as missing. Super Typhoon Haiyan devastated central Philippines provinces in November 2013. And it was by far the biggest test ever faced by ASEAN's 3-year-old Disaster and Emergency Response Group. Based in Jakarta, AHA coordinates emergency and relief efforts across ASEAN's member states.
When we reflect back to the Haiyan experience, one of the things that we need to work more and more is about mobilizing the resources from the entire ASEAN, different partners, different stakeholders, to be united in responding to a disaster when it happened in the ASEAN region.
The AHA Center 88-page report on its operations during Typhoon Haiyan will serve as a baseline from which the group will aim to coordinate a multifaceted response to future disasters in ASEAN. While the region's militaries have played a key role in large-scale disaster operations, AHA says the private sector can also play a significant role.
Private sectors have resources, private sectors have talent as well, and private sectors has a lot of better ideas as well, innovation, where we believe would be important in responding in the region in ASEAN.
Humanitarian experts point out most of the military assets which are deployed for disaster response situations are available within the private sector domain. And so the task at hand is to successfully integrate the private sector into the region's emergency and relief mechanism to ensure a more concerted, comprehensive and innovative response. 70% of the world's natural disasters happen here in Asia. The region is also the world's growth engine, fueled by significant private sector contributions. If harnessed correctly, its abundant resources and capabilities could form a powerful force in the domain of ASEAN humanitarian assistance. Sujati Siswa, Channel NewsAsia, Jakarta.
And here to tell us more, we have Mr. Ng Sin En of the Corporate Citizen Foundation. He's joined by Mr. Syed Faisal of the ASEAN Humanitarian Assistance Center, or AHA. Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Welcome to the show. Sin En, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
We heard earlier the main objective of the foundation is to gather information from ground zero and to share it with others. How is this going to complement what's already out there from other existing humanitarian organizations like AHA?
I think is that there's more is better, okay, and the fact that we have ability, okay, to gain access through the private network, okay, probably will be able to bring another perspective and additional information to complement each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, Syed, tell us how this system is actually aligned with what AHA is already doing.
I think we're really appreciative of this new initiative, Corporate Citizenship Foundation. One of the important pillar in responding to disaster is the resources from private sectors, readiness of resources, different type of resources. So when we heard about this one, we strongly believe this is something that we should work together and pursue more. And we really hope that this initiative started in Singapore can be spread in other ASEAN region as well. So a lot of linkage can be made in terms of the operation, starting from the immediate after disaster, the logistics, transportation, and so on. So we appreciate this one.
Well, as you mentioned in the story earlier, it's really about linking up a lot of the private companies, and some of the partners include Thomson Medical Group, ST Aerospace, even ourselves, MediaCorp. How were these partners selected?
It's all started from the need. We identified what is needed, okay, for us to gain access and collect the relevant information and distribute the information to the rest of the partners. So from there we find that, okay, some of the key things that we are looking at is medical situations, in terms of the resource, in terms of water situations, and at the same time we want to have that transportations, land, air and sea, because it is all about access. If you can't get in, you can't get information. Then finally, once you got the information, do we have the means to bring it up? So through that entire understanding of the need, okay, and we start looking at who are the best, okay, that in this private sector that we can bring on board, okay, and provide that synergy of an integrated effort to achieve this access and sharing of information.
Okay, so in other words, the partners were picked because of what they do. The skill set they have is relevant to the situation there. But I mean, realistically, when you're on the ground, when things happen, will these private companies be equipped or trained or experienced enough to come into a situation like that and help out as a first responder? Say?
We are having this, what we call the Emergency Response Assistance Team, the ASEAN ERAT. One of the things that we're doing now is about expanding the membership into the private sectors as well. We believe this is why having a different type of skill set in one emergency response team will be very helpful when we respond to a region, particularly after disaster. We're talking about logistics, we're talking about assessment, we're talking about information management, even at one point we're talking about crisis information management as well. So this is where we think the different set of skill which is available in the private sector can be tapped in as well into the overall ASEAN response.
Will these companies here be tapped on to sort of be given some prior training I guess, front load them, prepare them for what might occur?
Definitely. Okay, they have the skills and expertise. Now it's about application in context. So the context training, even about issues about sensitivities, okay, to situation like this, okay, we will have to provide that training. And of course, understanding the entire ecosystem, okay, of the public, the people, and the private sectors, okay, will allow them to to apply their expertise in the right context.
So are there any plans perhaps to expand the team in the future?
We hope that, that once we got more private corporations that's eager to come on board, then we are able to expand our capability and the capacity to handle more.
What are some of the other sectors you think might be relevant? Does that mean you might turn away some sectors as well? Because
private corporations can contribute in many forms. They can contribute in the traditional of funding, the training, and in terms of the expertise, or even the business network. Imagine that you have a private corporations that have a very extensive business network within the particular sector that is affected by disasters. So I can tap on that network to know who are the local contact that I can work with to achieve better synergy in the way we conduct the disaster relief operations. Other than that, private corporations actually can provide in the other arms of the Corporate Citizen Foundation's plan in an area of sustainable development. So in between disasters, we want to build their resilience and their capacity.
So in other words, many helping hands, I guess, make light work, so there's always a spot for everyone. Thank you so much. Just speaking with Sin Ain of the Corporate Citizen Foundation and also Syed Faisal from the ASEAN Humanitarian Assistance Centre.